very, very best of luck with your bidding endeavours. My instructions to you are very, very clear, and that is to bid boldly, bid aggressively, but more importantly, bid to the absolute upper echelon of your capacity to give yourself every opportunity of being the lucky and successful buyer. To the lucky and successful buyer that I'm sure is tuned into the online auction here today, I'd like to say congratulations in advance on your magnificent purchase, and what a magnificent purchase it is for you for, I'm sure, the years to come. To our vendors, we also want to take this opportunity to thank so much for not only entrusting myself as their auctioneer, but more importantly, the whole team at With Real Estate for selling what is arguably their most prized possession. Folks, today's auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules and any additional conditions that were made available for inspection before the start of the auction. The auction rules prohibit an auctioneer from accepting bids or offers for a property after the property has been knocked down to the successful bidder. The vendors have a reserve price. Folks, as the auctioneer, I'm going to be indicating bidders on request. The law prohibits false bids, prohibits major disruptions by bidders, and prohibits bidders attempting to prevent others from bidding, and it will provide fines for this conduct. The rules permit vendor bids. The words I'm going to be using during the auction to indicate I am making a bid on behalf of our vendors are simply vendor bid, and by law only I, as the auctioneer, ladies and gentlemen, can be placing those vendor bids. Now, preferred settlement terms at 30 to 60 days, and a standard 10% deposit is payable today if you end up being that lucky and successful buyer. If there's been any other prior arranged terms that have been discussed with myself or our selling agents before the commencement of the auction, then you're certainly more than comfortable to be bidding on that basis. But a standard 30 to 60 day settlement term is preferred, and a 10% deposit is payable. Just have your phone handy at the conclusion of the auction so our selling agents can communicate with you about the digital signing of the contract and or making that deposit payable. By the way, Emma, thanks for putting that message in the chat box before about pinning my screen if you all wanted to see me in a larger format. Now, placing bids is very, very easy, folks. There is two ways we can do this. You can bid via the audio if you like, as Audwin got on the audio before. That is fine. However, I would prefer you to bid via the chat box. You're more than welcome to have some test runs now in the chat box if you want to have a go. But basically, if you're using a mobile device, you click the three dots at the bottom of your screen and go to in-call messages. Or if you're using a PC or Mac, you should be able to see a message icon in the bottom right corner of your screen, and that will unlock the chat box from there. So thanks, Rick. I can see the test. Aaron, I can see the test. Beautiful. Rizwan, hi, can see the hi and the exclamation mark. Perfect. Now, thanks, Sarah. Thank you very much. By the way, I would love it. Thanks, Nikki. I would love it if you could write your bid in full increment as well. So, for example, if you wanted to give me 600,000, let's do 600, 000, right? Instead of just 6. Or maybe 600, I'm not sure. So we want to make sure the bidding is in full increment. If you wanted to give me a bid of 10 grand or 20 grand over the 600 grand, for example, let's not do 10 or 20. Let's do 610 or 620, 000. That would be much appreciated. Right, folks, number 18, Kincaid Crescent, Endeavour Hills. What a marvellous opportunity for mostly first home buyers and investors in this hot marketplace that does not reward any second place buyers. 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and car spacing on this corner allotment of 591 square metres of prime Endeavour Hills soil. This property is absolutely prime for first home buyers. The moment you walk into the property and move in, you are literally ready to enjoy the future years for the property. It has been thoroughly looked after by our current owners, and they are more than happy to hand over the keys for the new purchasers to enjoy for the years to come. We've got living zones, of course, an abundance of natural light glistening through every single angle of the property, presenting quality fixtures and fittings, and of course low maintenance surroundings as well. For investors out there, it should leave you licking your lips with the abundance of opportunity, being a corner allotment as well for development potential, subject to council approval, of course. Location is absolutely superb. A little bit biased I must admit. I bought a property in Endeavour Hills a few years back. I can tell you it has literally got everything within its proximity, whether it be schools, public, private, secondary, primary, major freeway access, local shops, of course, Endeavour Hills Plaza. We've got plenty of medical facilities around the area as well, takeaways, public transport, you name it. One thing about Endeavour Hills that I loved when I lived there, folks, I'll be honest, is its proximity to the CBD with its major arterial freeway and road access. You can literally get to the CBD outside peak times, half an hour back and forth. It is that quick. It's a smooth run on the Monash Freeway and straight back. It is a hidden gem in the southeastern corridor of Melbourne. So many people are wanting to park their money and create priceless family memories in this particular suburb, and that should be no reason why you shouldn't be bidding with confidence here today. So we've got a handful of of people that have tuned in for the auction this morning. They are ready to go. You're not here to watch the auctioneer. I'm not that good looking, so let's just get the auction underway now. So, who would like to get things underway? An opening bidder offer, any offer at all to get us going. I'm literally more than happy to kick it off. Aaron, what about you? You were in the auction room before. You were the first one here, and you thought that you were going to hear when we were talking about the reserve price. We thought you were part of the vendors crew, and luckily we didn't. But Aaron, I'll tell you now, to unlock that reserve opportunity, let's be the opening bidder. It'll give you an 80% chance of buying the property here this morning. Folks, I'm going to wait patiently now. Okay. Now, what's that bid there, Rizwan? You've got 600,000, 3,000. Not sure what that means. Can we do it again? Is that 630 maybe? Are you meant to write 630? Just let me know. I'll just wait patiently for the confirmation. 630. Bang. There it is. At 630,000. Thanks, Rizwan. Great bid from your end. Coming in first place now. The number 18, Kincaid Crescent, of course, in the beating heart of Endeavour Hills. 630,000 the offer now. Let's go back 10 grand on top now as an absolute bare minimum. Sarah, not going to take 2 grand. We need to be 10 grand minimum. At 630 is the offer. Still with Rizwan. Need 10 grand on top at 640 now. Absolute bare minimum bid at 630,000 is the offer. Let's move it along now, folks. Come on. At 640 to jump back. Aaron, come on. How about you? At 653. Right. A little bit of obscure increments there. That's okay. We'll take it at 653. But let's go 10 grand on top as a minimum, okay? At 653 is the offer. I'm not going to take the 2 grand. At 653,000. Let's make it 663 or 665. Let's round it up now. 653,000 is the offer now. The number 18, Kincaid Crescent. Right, we'll take the 660, but we've got to go in 10 grand minimum now, okay? At 660 is the offer. Thanks for rounding me up, by the way. It's got to go 670 as an absolute bare minimum now. I'll let you know the second that we can shift back to smaller increments. At $660,000 now. I promise you, once we get on the market, if we do, we'll take whatever you like at $660,000. Let's keep it moving now. 10 grand on top now, bare minimum bid at 670 to jump back at 673. Katarina, you love those obscure increments. I'm not going to knock back 13 grand on top, of course, at 673,000. So let's go as an absolute bare minimum 680 now, folks, with 7 grand on top. At 673,000 is the current leading bid here at 673. At 673. At 673,000. Let's make it 680 to jump back. Once at 673. Twice at 673. Third and final opportunity, 80, 90, bang. Sarah, you've been outbid. 690 is the offer with Ricardo. Love that. At 690, 700, bang, with Sudesh. Great bidding. At $700,000, now we're underway. Now the auction's certainly taking a new corner. At $700,000 now. Now it's the home stretch, folks. Let's jump back in here. At $700,000 now. Ordwin, if you want me to take anything smaller than 10s, I'll wait for your instructions. If it's 5 even, just let me know. At $700,000 is the bid. Yes, Ordwin, will stay in 10s?
We'll stay in 10, yes.
No problem. At $700,000, not just yet, Ricardo. At $700,000 now. By the way, Ricardo, my wife and I are expecting our 3rd baby. She actually wants to name our little boy because it's a boy on the way, Ricardo. So I hope you like that. At $700,000 now. At $700,000 now, but it might just be a simple Ricardo rather than the Rick and Ardo. Just thought I'd put that out there. At $700,000 now. Thanks for the thumbs up. Let's go 10 grand to jump back. I'm going to wait for Ordwin's instructions before we can ship it back to 5s. Sorry, not going to take the 5, Sarah, because Ordwin said we need to be in 10s as an absolute bare minimum. And I'm also guided by the selling agents here. They're liaising with the vendors. I'm not. I apologize. We need to be in 10s at 700,000. Let's make it 10 on top at 710, or I'll wrap it up. Once at 700. Twice at 700. Katarina, bang, at 710. At 710 the offer. 720 to jump back, of course, unless Ordwin wants me to go in 5s. At 710. It's at 710 with Katarina. We're going to go 720 now. Bare minimum bid. Once again, we'll wait for the instructions from the selling agent otherwise. But the bid's at 710,000. Silver, I can see you on my screen. You haven't bid here today. Any further interest? At 710,000. No problem. Well, thanks for tuning in anyway. At 710 the offer. Let's go 10 on top at 720. Oh, we're going to be done and wrap things up here. And I suspect we're very close as well, folks. I'll just wait for the agent's instructions to announce those magical words. At 710. Aaron, you were with me from the start, literally before anybody else. Is there any interest on your end? At 710, you are interested, right? So what you're saying to me is that if we're on the market, you'll bid at $710,000 now. We're going to call it 3 times. Folks, I need to know if there's any other better bidder offer now. Ordwin?
We're just a couple bits away. Couple bits away from being on the market.
No problem. That's okay. That's as clear as we can be. Folks, a couple of bids away. 710 still the current bid. Coming in first place at 710. Once at 710. 20. But Aaron, here he is at 720,000. He's just jumped back. And I said to you, Aaron, before, if you were on the market, would you bid? And you heard something there from the agent that gave you a little bit of an indication that we weren't far away, and you thought, bang, this is my time.
Good
at
news,
720. Sorry?
Good news, we're on the market. We are selling.
Gordon, we're selling it away now. At 720,000, make no mistake, the property's going to be sold if there's no better bid or offer. Congratulations to our sellers in advance, by the way. On the market and selling. Thanks, Audrey, for the confirmation in the text. Of course, 720 is the offer. Now, by the way, folks, if you wanted to give me a $5,000 bid over the top, more than happy to accept it at this point of time. At $720,000, let's jump back into the bidding and be quick here. 725, there he is, my future son, at 725,000. Ricardo back at 7.25. At 725, good to see you back in here, Ricardo. At 725. At 725, we can go 730 now, folks, if you want to jump in. But Ricardo's coming in first place. This could be an omen for me if Ricardo buys it. At 725,000, I'm going to call it 3 times. No better bidder offer. We'll sell it away once at 725. Twice at 725. 3rd and final opportunity at 7, not just yet, Aaron, come back in at 730, well done. At 730,000, mean business. Ricardo, let's jump back into the lead here. The bid's at $730,000 now. We know it's going to be back to your web portal of choice, searching for more real estate you won't even like as much, and that's why you've gone 5 again. At 735, Aaron would suggest the same thing to you. Bidding's at 735,000. Let's avoid this ever-escalating property market by continuing to bid now and go straight to 740,000. The bid's at 735. Otherwise, you're going to be faced to have calls from Audwin during the week and trying to sell you properties you won't even like as much. And you're going to say, Audwin, it's not as good as that one in Kincaid Crescent EH. And you know what? Let's avoid that conversation by continuing to bid here. 740, I'm suggesting. Bids at 735 with Ricardo. In or out, Aaron. Once at 735. Twice at 735. 3rd and final opportunity at 735,000. Aaron, are we out? Are you sure? 100%. Hang on, Audwin, I'll chip back. Are you sure you're out at 735? Ricardo, bear with me, please. I'll do the absolute same for you, I promise. Aaron, are you sure?
What increments can we go up and down?
Anything you like, mate. Anything you like, we'll take. But let's keep it in the thousands as a minimum if we can.
Try
at 735.
Yeah, 736.
736, no problem. Happy to accept it, Ricardo. You can return serve, of course, at 737 if you like. At 736,000. Great question to ask, by the way, Aaron. At 736,000. Generally speaking, bang, 740. Thanks, Audrey, for the confirmation. Ricardo's gone bang on top at 40. Generally speaking, Aaron, buyers just say they're out and auctioneers don't give them the opportunity. But we will, of course, give the buyers the opportunity to jump back with smaller increments. Ricardo's just gone bang with $4,000 on top, though. So, Aaron, you were out with a $5,000 bid. I'm assuming you're out now?
Out now, mate. Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep.
What if I was a little bit cheeky and said $500 would get you back in?
No, all good, mate.
I appreciate you bidding today, Aaron. If you're happy for me to leave it there, Orban, I think Aaron's out. Now, Aaron, it'd be silly not to ask about $100 to jump back in. At 740, that's okay, Ricardo. It's good for you. It gives you clarity knowing that our buyers are out, right? Good for you. Good news. I think it's going to be yours. So buyers, if you want to jump in now, this is the time I need to know. You now know my secrets. You now know what increments I'm happy to accept. Or we're selling number 18 Kincaid Crescent, of course, in Endeavour Hills for 740 to my future son. There's no conflict of interest here, I promise. Once at 740. Twice at 740. Ordwin, do I have your permission to sell?
Let's sell it,
Third,
sir.
final time, thank you. We're selling at 740. We're selling. So, congratulations, Ricardo. How good's that? You can just place your bids in the car. You can ring up your loved ones and say, literally just bought a property in the car today. How good's that? That is awesome. Congratulations. Wonderful person.